Welcome to Yegs and Bacon, a production of Submit Industries. Ding 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 ding. Do 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 do.
Yegs and Bacon, gonna see what's shaking, 'cause there ain't no faking here on Yegs and Bacon. Yegs and Bacon.
Why, hello everybody, and welcome to that wonderful introduction to Yegs and Bacon featuring young intern Jim. Hi, Jim. On today's show, I am by myself as Danica is currently on assignment, covering stuff and doing things. In the meantime, I'm gonna attempt to do the show solo. So what we like to do on our Monday show, our Yegs and Bacon show, is talk about what pop culture news has nabbed your attention this week, as well as ours. I've got a little list of things here to share with you. I'm going to start with one that's kind of a larger topic, and then we can maybe kind of discuss some things if y'all want to discuss them out there as we kind of go through some other items to kind of get more of a back and forth going about this. So this week, the comics community really dug into finding out about and hecking around with non-fungible tokens. It's a big confusion for a lot of folks as to what these are. They're basically like blockchains or like all the weird crypto money. But what they're doing now is they're attaching these non-fungible tokens to pieces of artwork, to gifts even. The NBA is actually making a lot of money on selling gifts to people, gifts that you yourself can also see on the internet for free. Well, the price of, being on the internet, basically. And yeah, it's causing a bit of a trouble because to kind of make an NFT, a non-fungible token, it has to basically be something that cannot be replicated. And so that takes a lot of computing power. In fact, it was mathed out that some NFTs have cost the same amount of energy to build as it would take one person living in Europe to go through all of their basic energy needs for over 100 years. That's not good. Probably not good for our environment. And it's going to get worse because as the computing power spits out these different NFTs, when something is made and is not designed to be replicated, then that same process can't be replicated. So as these things are made, it just takes more and more and more computing power to make unique tokens, which, as you might be able to tell, takes more and more and more power. So how does comics come into this? Well, this week there's a bunch of comic folk who have been announcing, or comic adjacent folk who've been announcing that they are selling art with NFTs attached to them. There's a lot of people for this. There's a lot of people against this. Most notably against it is Darwin Cook's widow, who, good Lord, her name is escaping me. And I've even talked to her in person once. But she has made it explicitly clear that none of Darwin's work can be used for these items. Basically, because of the environmental problems, she is open to changing her mind on this if need be. Boop, boop. And by if need be, if there's evidence that it does not take that many ecological resources away from the world, and like starts burning things on fire. So her name is Marsha. I apologize for not getting that out there properly. So yeah, there's there's a lot going on about that. If any of you want to talk about what NFTs specifically do, or want some more clarification on how they work, basically, I equate it to any kind of form of money, which doesn't. Money is so weird these days because, like, I know in terms of my money, the majority of the money that I've ever seen in my life comes from me taking a piece of paper to a bank. And sometimes I talk to a person, sometimes I put it in an envelope with a little plastic card, which I give to the bank or a machine. I type in, hey, this piece of paper that I just gave you says I have 2,000 plus more of money. And they take that piece of information and go, sounds good. Here's another number back to you. It's all of the money that you have. And we just like added what your paper said and what you told us. And now you have that. That's not real. That's not a real thing I've ever held in my hands. It's all magic dust, my friends. And that's a little bit of what NFTs are. It's like magic dust that they're attaching to all kinds of things like pictures, GIFs. DC is actually working with the company and putting out digital statues that they're doing NFTs with and making some money. But I know my money doesn't take 100 years worth of power to make. So I'm going to stick with my monies and how that works for me, and we'll all go from there. Hey, Eric, how's it going? Hope things are doing well for you. In other news, what do we got here? We've got Marvel and DC this year, since the June solicitations are coming up. They're announcing a lot of Pride content for their line. Both are producing one shots that feature a lot of in terms of DC, 100% of the creators, other than Jim Lee and Scott Williams, who are doing a cover, are LGBTQ 2S plus, basically, folks. One of the things I want to especially note about the DC content that's coming out, they're also doing a line of covers that look absolutely gorgeous. And the characters they're featuring aren't just sort of like tokenized characters. They've actually been introducing a lot of characters over the last little while. It really kind of hits when you look at an anthology like this and realize the diversity that they have been building up quietly in the background, and not just showcasing like they are in June, Pride Month, basically. There's always a little bit of ickiness when it comes to like, hey, it's June, the period of time where non-straight people exist and we talk about them. That's always gotten to me. I've also sent off a little note to DC based off some conversations that we've had with some customers, because a lot of the Pride covers that they have coming out are part of DC's line of variants that they always charge an extra $1 for. Now, when it comes to, say, putting an initiative to show that you are supportive of the LGBTQ plus community, it's very tacky and kind of scummy to be like, why, yes, show your support by giving us an extra $1. Something needs to be rethought there, whether that's the extra money that they're making on this could be donated, or something like that, or just really just making it the same price as anything else. The books that they're attached to. That's a really good way to do that and show that you're actually supporting and not sort of like literally actually making extra money for that company, instead of just actually just showing support to show support, you know? So something to keep an eye on. We're going to keep an eye on that for sure. Yeah, Austin is basically saying it right too. It's essentially a tax to show your support. Not great. So, what do we got here? Otherwise, some other interesting things happening, like Chip Zdarsky and Phil Hester are going to be taking over the Image Book crossover, which seems weird. Issue 7, they're going to do themselves. Crossover is a book that is taking place in a world where comic book characters are essentially encouraging. They're you ever see the show Fringe? They're fringing their way into our reality. Let's say from another reality, from other realities, and it's sort of building a weird mix. I like Simone's infiltrating. That works. I like it. They so there's that kind of big story going on, but quietly in the background there's this story about comic book creators by name from our world who are being murdered for question mark reasons in that world. I'm assuming this is a little bit of a thing with that, because the cover of Chip and Phil's issue has Chip running away from question mark. So that should be fun. Austin also says this was a similar problem with the Black History Month covers, which were very popular. I will give Marvel this. They didn't charge extra money for those covers. There was the same price as the regular covers for the book. But yeah, it's still that situation where it's just like, hey, folks, give us those extra ducats. So yeah, I'm very excited for whatever crossover is doing, because it is super bonkers what they're doing already, and now they're bringing other people to kind of play in the universe. Raises some more interesting questions. Otherwise, I want to talk about two things that tells folks that DC's Black Label line appears to be alive and well. It disappeared for a while there. And that is because DC fired two of their main editors who were working on the line. When you, laid off, had to let go because of cuts across the industry or across their industry from AT&T. Everybody had to cut X amount of people from their line. And Mark Doyle and Andy Curry were a part of that. And they were really spearheading a lot of the Black Label line. So when that happens, you have a period of time when new projects are being developed while you kind of get things in line. And the ones that were already in development take a little bit of extra time because you need to warm up some new editors and editorial structure and communications, basically. So two things are coming out that are really exciting. Hey, stop it. You can't see Jim too well because the camera is pointed up here to this beautiful face, but you can kind of see a bit of her butt and her tail. Come on. Scooch. So the two things that were announced was a new creator-owned book from James Tynion the fourth, and Alvaro Martinez Bueno with Jordi Blair doing colors, called The Nice House on the Lake, continuing the streak of new creator-owned books that really want to lock in their IP and do some long-ass names for the projects. Now, the good thing is it really describes this project. It is about The Nice House on the Lake. It is a horror book, much in the way of Something is Killing the Children. And we'll kind of continue on that vein. It looks to be about 12 issues long. So that'll be very interesting. Yes. Rub your face on there. Get some purrs into that machine. So that's going to be really cool. On sort of the more inside DC universe thing, Garth Ennis and Liam Sharp are teaming up for a book called Batman Reptilian. The art in it looks absolutely gorgeous because the Black Label line really does take its time with the art process and writing process. So you're going to get these like nice oversized books that are going to be looking real good. Garth Ennis, you will know from The Boys. If you want to know what kind of his writing style is going to be like. Liam Sharp most recently was on Grant Morrison's run of Green Lantern. where he started turning out some amazing work. It was great to start out with, but he developed this new style that was a lot more painterly, which is going into this new arc, this new story, and so that's going to be really cool. Joseph says, "I love Liam Sharp, does absolutely outstanding work," and Austin says they didn't know what Black Label was or wasn't there for a bit, and it is very true, especially when some edicts came down and they needed to kind of simplify their branding, which I understand because it was like Vertigo and Wildstorm and all this kind of stuff. Whereas the corporate way to do it is you have a brand and you have the flavors of the brand. So they went down to DC Black Label instead of DC Vertigo. So kind of more of a streamlined idea. And then their DC Ink and Zoom lines became DC Young Adults, DC All Ages, that kind of stuff. Just a more focus on effective communication of what these lines mean. And then the editorial stuff, and then everything. So yeah, wild time for the Black Label line, but it's landing on its feet, and those are some cool projects. But speaking of the Black Label line, all of the things that I put on the schedule ended up dovetailing nicely into each other. Mark Doyle, who we mentioned, was let go by DC, the main editorial force behind Black Label, and a lot of their Batman line, most of the Batman line, has landed at IDW. IDW picked him up, is going to use his skills to get things moving along. Mark Doyle was the person who brought Scott Snyder to the industry. He's the person who made the Batman line far stronger than it actually had been in years and years and years, with a focus on building out different types of Batman books instead of just being Batman, because DC's going to put out Batman. The trick is to have books that feel different enough from each other to actually grow. And he has a fantastic eye for story, for writers and artists, for pairing them up. It's the reason why the Black Label line, which could at times be called the Batman line, or specifically a Joker Harley line, it's a big reason why those books being oversized, which a lot of retailers take it as a hit against, even though it's just the size of a magazine. You can put them in a magazine begging board. Despite retailer complaining, that line sold incredibly well and continues to do incredibly well. And those collections just blow off the shelves, which is DC's end goal. They want to make sure that there's product out there for the long term. They want more Watchmen books. And why not? They want more perennial projects. And you can read any of these Black Label stuff perennially. So Mark Doyle getting hired by IDW is a big get for them. I'm excited to see what kinds of projects he starts putting together for them, whether that's more of a creator-owned end or whether that's interesting creators on interesting books that they have in their line, because they do a lot of licensed product. All of that will be very interesting to see in the future. All right, Skittering Cat a few seconds ago means our time is pretty much up, the lack of further items on my list means time is further up. Thank you all for watching this week's episode of Yegs and Bacon. Danica will be back from assignment tomorrow for our new releases show that we do at 8:10 p.m. We'll be talking about all of the new releases that are, well, all of the number ones and cool new releases that are coming out this Wednesday. Let's get you a little sneak peek there. And yeah, I guess that now that I'm wrapped up, Jim has left because she's done as well. And we can wind things down. So, hey, thank you all for watching once again. And we will talk to you very soon in the future.